Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Michael Carbone. I'm a business and immigration attorney in Staten Island, New York. Today, I want to talk about the continuous residence and physical presence requirements for naturalization. Now, before I dive into this topic, if you have any questions or you want to start a conversation, please drop a comment below. Otherwise, if you want to set up a formal legal consultation with me, visit us at carboneattorneys.com. We have a button in the top right corner of our website. Click it, fill it out, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. So when it comes to applying for naturalization, there are certainly many requirements that you must meet in order to qualify to naturalize. Two very important requirements as a part of that process are the continuous residency requirement and the physical presence requirement. Now, they both kind of work in tandem with one another, as the way that you meet each one kind of interacts with how much time you're spending inside and outside of the United States. So for the continuous residency requirement, what we're looking at here is whether or not you've maintained your legal permanent resident status for the entirety of the statutory period. So for the standard requirements, that's 5 years. And if you are married to a US citizen, that's 3 years. So the question is, did you break your continuous residency? Was there a break? So how do you break your residency? The way that you break it is by spending too much time outside of the United States. So if you take trips here and there for a couple of months, a couple of days, that's not the problem. You start running into trouble when you cross over that 6-month threshold. So if you spend 6 months or greater, but less than a year outside of the United States, when it comes time to apply for naturalization, you may have to do so you'll have to provide documentation and evidence showing that there was a good reason why you were outside the United States for so long, but that you intended to return. Now, if you spend 1 year or greater outside of the United States, this is a much bigger issue. You've actually broken your residency status, and you may even be subject to removal proceedings. So you want to make sure that while you are working towards naturalization, you're not spending too much time in one trip outside of the United States. So with that, let's turn to physical presence. Similarly, physical presence for the purposes of naturalization requires you to spend at least half of the statutory period inside of the United States. So if you're going through the 5-year statutory period, you need to spend at least 30 months inside the United States. And if it's the 3-year statutory period, you have to spend at least 18 months inside the United States. So how is this calculated? Well, the government will look at the days that you spend outside of the United States. So any part of a day that you're in the US, this is including when you're flying out, counts as a full day. So let's say you have a flight that leaves at 11 a.m. That time, just a couple of hours that you spent that day, that counts as a full day. So what you're doing is you're looking at all of the trips that you've taken since you've become a legal permanent resident and adding up all of the days of 24 hours that you spent outside the US. As long as that time period does not add up to over 30 months or 18 months outside of the United States, then you will remain eligible for naturalization from the perspective of the physical presence requirement. So when it comes to continuous residence and physical presence, again, we're looking at the time you spend outside of the United States, both in one trip and in the totality of time you spent. So make sure that if you are looking to naturalize, you pay close attention to the time that you are spending outside of the US. So that's it. That's the video for today. If you like this video and you want to see more, please like, subscribe, and I'll keep making them.